was about 7 years of age, and it was a dark, cold winter night, and my father and I just finished saying goodbye to our family members. It was Christmas Eve, and my aunt and uncle had just went home from visiting. A simple family ritual done once every Christmas Eve, as usual. Before I knew it, I kicked off my winter boots and I was in bed. My mom and dad came into the room and spoke with soft words to tell me goodnight. I couldn't wait for Christmas. It was my most favorite holiday of the year. The presents, the family dinner, everything just seemed so perfect when it was holiday season. Well, at this point, I couldn't go to bed thinking Christmas and wondering what could possibly be under the tree. But inevitably, my eyelids grew heavier, and the light glow from the moon reflected off the snow, and too soothing soon, I was fast asleep. All of a sudden, I was awake. Thinking it was Christmas, I was overjoyed to go open our presents. But I heard something odd, and my parents were usually up and making breakfast. Well, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper. I heard as though it was the mumbling sound. No, not the "oh my god, someone's shit in your pants" sound, but just enough so I could hear it. Add to the strange noise I heard before, big thumps, footsteps. We have wooden floors, so those of you who also don't know what I'm talking about. Which was strange because even my father didn't make that thump loud when he was walking. So the curious and carefree child that I was went to investigate the noise. I checked upstairs, my parents' room, the bathrooms, everything, but found nothing. So the only two places were in the living room and the kitchen. When I stepped into the living room, I had found the source of the mumbling. It was my mother and my father tied up in a rope, with clothes all around their mouths in front of the Christmas tree and all the presents. Suddenly I went in shock, and my parents weren't ones to play pranks either. Being scared, I rushed to the kitchen to fetch a knife to cut the rope. All of a sudden I heard a noise coming from the living room. It was the thumping again. I hurried back there. Next to my parents was a tall man in black, sort of a robe like thin cloth around him. It had a hood. He wore heavy, what seemed to be steel-toed boots. The most deafening characteristic this mysterious man had was a mask he wore. The mask was black. It had huge holes in the eyes, rimmed with metal. There was a long plastic-looking string that was tied to a tight knot that kept the mask on. But the thing I remembered most was the horrifying black beak on his mask. It curved downwards almost like a hellish bird in a nightmare. Only this was real life. I was frozen, in shock, standing where the hell bird would blankly back at me, as though eating the very soul within my body. I did nothing, and the seconds felt like total hours until finally the birdman spoke with a very light, formal, yet wisp-like voice, also revealing that he was a man, whether it really was a man or not. "I am the bringer of Oblivion," he said. "What do you plan on doing, you bastard?" I replied. He simply snickered. Behind him I noticed he had a bag. He reached into the bag and pulled out a gasoline tank and started dousing my parents with the gas. I went to attack him, but he punched me in the stomach and I fell to the ground. And it felt like he also broke some of my ribs. Now let's not be that way, okay? I expect you would sit and behave like a good little boy. He started covering the tree with presents with gas and then threw the tank down, and also spilled gasoline everywhere. He grabbed me by the shoulder and threw me to the front door. "Merry Christmas," he said, dropping an enclosed envelope in the mask identical of his. He then took a big Zippo lighter and ignited. Then he threw the lighter to my parents, instantly engulfing them in everything in flames. He then jumped out of the window and ran into the dark woods behind our house. I watched as they were screaming in agony under their clothes as their skin started to melt away and char. I went to help them, but the house and everything was too engulfed in flames. The last words I ever heard of my father was, "Just run, son. Go and run as fast as you can." Or at least that's what I could make out from him. I went to run out of the house, knowing sadly and completely whether or not. I reached for the door and my foot stumbled on something. It was the mask and letter. For some reason, I took the mask and letter. When I finally got a chance to open the letter, my parents were long gone. All my happiness crushed. The letter read the following: "From the bringer of Oblivion. I knew you would keep this. Hello. If you are reading this, then that means you are very lucky. I am the bringer of Oblivion, and this is your letter of Oblivion. But this letter was a mask I left to you as well. But more importantly, I left you with something much more. Anger. Don't cry, because it will do you no good whatsoever. I have to leave you with a task, and a new life you can choose to lead. Take the mask, and keep these words in your head, because I know you will bury them in your memory. When you are older, or maybe even now, depending on whether you're reading this, you can take the mask and do the deed I had done to you and your family to another. You can take the reach out. Don't worry. It feels good, I know. Burn the house and leave the letter and the mask and the nickel to these, the youngest of the household, and burn the rest of them all. How you can do this? Feel the fucking rage inside of you. It has consumed you, so release it. Do this, my child, and spread the oblivion to wherever you may find this suitable. At the time I read this, I was staying in the foster home for God knows how many years. But he was right about the rage. It controlled my body, and sometimes I think to myself, what if he had been done that night had not occurred? There is no fucking way I would become him, I thought to myself. I'm now 18 years old, and the rage of that day and the letter still stuck inside my mind. It was all burned there, even in the middle of dropping the mask. The letter like this very lucky 5-year-old little girl, who just happens to be the youngest of a family of 4.